that affect the brand choice, the frequency, and loyalty to the brand and the organization. So basically, when I when I consider this meaning, what I mean is when you have a plethora of brands to make, does all the brand have an impact on the attitude or the behaviors of the doctor so that it results into the choice of the doctor? Not only the choice, but we are actually looking at a prescription which has a high frequency, not only high frequency, but also loyalty to the brand and loyalty to the organization. So obviously, when we have a plethora of brands, it cannot be the matter. There is something which is beyond the need. So, friends, brands that merely satisfy needs are product focused, while brands that consider value, they actually address a higher goal in society or guided by a higher purpose for their organizations. Brands that satisfy customers' needs or doctors' needs, whereas brands that consider value, they satisfy the doctor's preferences. So there is a difference between a need and there is a difference between a preference. What is it which actually what is it which actually compels the doctor to decide about writing a prescription in favor of the brand? And it is the value which actually compels the doctor to take a decision in the favor of the brand. Value gives a distinct identity to the brand. I gave you an example of S-omeprazole. Now, S-omeprazole actually was marked. I'm not going into the details about the controversies with respect to this therapy. But as a brand, S-omeprazole actually gave a feel-good factor for the doctor, which was different as compared to the omeprazole. And that's why I call it, you had a distinct identity to the brand. Value gives a concrete reason for the doctor to prescribe your brand, and a concrete reason not only to be prescribed, but also to be remembered. A brand with a higher value basically facilitates this decision making process in favor of the brand. Remember, as I said in the beginning, we are in a situation where we actually have maybe surplus kinds of brands in all areas, in all sectors. Value is something which is relative to that of the competition, because in the doctor's mind, the doctor always considers certain aspects about the competitive brands also. Value of a generic and not value of a brand. Therefore, the doctor is unable to distinguish between the molecule and the brand. Now, if you look at the Indian pharmaceutical market, we have three components basically. We have the uh, patented drugs, we have the branded generics, and we have the generics. So almost 70% of India's pharmaceutical market constitution is branded generics. Friends, if you just remove the word branded from a generic, no, it gets transformed into what? Basically a generic. And a generic basically is not a brand. So you have various brands into various therapeutic categories which have fulfilled some aspect of this value component and have survived over the years. And I can mention so many of them which come to my memory. For example, it can be Augmented, it can be Cifran, it can be Atpure, it can be Ostocalcium Plus from GSK, it can be Human Mixtard from Novo. In the OTC area, you have a very seasoned brand Garlic Pearls, which still continues to sell. You have, of course, the success story of Viagra. You have Becosules. You have Becosules Zinc. You have of late the Sexol, the Secnidazole from Intas. So you have plenty of brands which actually have fulfilled some aspect of the value component, have survived, and still find a prescription as far as a doctor's practice is concerned. So, friends, the third component that why we need to focus on value is there is a there is a concept in economics, which is a simple concept. You might also be aware about this, that more is the supply and less is the value. More is the number and less is the value. It can be more number of products. It can be more number of brands. It can be more number of doctor visits. It can be more number of promotional inputs. It can be more number of pharma organizations. For example, if you see in certain categories, we have plenty of brands. For example, in the category anti-diabetic teneligliptin, today India has got around 50 to 60 brands of teneligliptin. In a category of fluoroquinolones like Cipro, of course, it, we have at least around 300 brands. In a category which was introduced somewhere last few years, like the gliptins, we have almost around 140 brands of vildagliptin. And similarly, in other categories, we have huge number of brands. So per se, by the principle of economics, we are faced with a situation by simply that the number of brands actually brings down the value. So brands which are actually built on some kind of a value realization have higher chances of acceptance and success over a longer period of time. Another brand which comes to my mind is when I was in Bayer, we were marketing the global antifungal Canesten, which is still available in around 125 countries of the world. And we already had a situation in India where, as usual, we were late and there were some other brands already being marketed having the same kind of composition. So one of the value additions what we did as far as this brand was concerned, we went into the particle size of the clotrimazole. We went into the backward integration. We went at the API level, and we actually found out, we worked upon the particle size of the brand. And I mean, I'm just revealing it, and we actually marketed that, we communicated that the particle size of the clotrimazole which goes into Canesten is the lowest which is available in the clotrimazole brands in the Indian market. Now, what does that mean? Canesten was marketed to the dermatologist, and to a dermatologist, he knows it, what is the value of having a lowest particle size, because he is confronted day in and day out with deep-seated dermatological infections, which could be also mixed infections, and he is looking in for a dermatological product which actually is successful in treating these infections. So he understands the value of what is the value of the particle size. So these are some of the examples which I felt which can actually corroborate our thought that what is the importance of focusing or the need of value. So I move ahead with respect to the last part, what I said, that having discussed, having talked about what is this value, the need for the value, what could be the strategy or the way forward. Of course, within this short period of time, we will not be able to discuss all the details about this. But for the benefit of this discussion, as what I had said earlier, what could be the strategy forward? Now, if you see, if you analyze, there are only two elemental characteristics of a brand, and that is the benefits and the price. So in our country, we have a system where that's what recently we saw when the prices of teneligliptin were reduced, and one company started the reduction, and it was followed in pursuit by all other organizations marketing teneligliptin. And then when I see this situation, I only think that when you are addressing the price, you are basically only addressing one component or one characteristic of this value. The most important component is the benefits part of it, which remains untouched. And that is what a mistake majority of the marketeers or marketing professionals or organizations do. that when one company follows suit, we also follow suit, and then there is a price war, and we take pride in saying that we are the most economical brand. But to a doctor, does it really make sense, or does it really make value? We are not looking into the other aspects, which is the benefits that what you can actually offer to the doctor. If you want to reduce the price, I would suggest you also have to increase the benefits. And the question is why? Because when you are reducing the price, the competitors are also reducing the price, and then all brands, as far as the doctor's perception are concerned, they become at par. In other words, the value which is given to the doctor by all the brands is equal, and the doctor is not able to differentiate. So what is the strategy? The strategy is basically to increase your benefits if you want to reduce the price. If you want to increase the price, then also you also have to look into increasing the benefits. Why? Because in that case, you will be offering a competitive advantage as compared to the other competitive brands. The second strategic approach could be, I can give you an equation over here as far as this discussion is concerned, that value A minus price A will be greater than value B minus price B for your brand. So that means, this is as far as the doctor is concerned. Why should the doctor consider your brand? Because the value that what you are giving to the doctor minus the price, we have already discussed this, what is the repercussions of the price, should always be highest than that of the value which is given by the competitor brand minus the price which the doctor has to face in his practice. So friends, how to increase this value or the benefits? One approach, the third strategic approach, I'm just putting it in slight brief because every aspect of this discussion actually can be a major discussion, but for the paucity of time, marketeers are basically focusing on the product, marketeers are focusing on the brand, but there is a need now to look beyond the brand, and there is a need to look at the value chain approach towards the brand. We need to, as I gave the example of Canesten, that was a value chain approach, right from the API stage, the raw material stage, right up to the selling stage in the marketplace. You have to identify, you have to find out an area which can add value to your brand. Not only that, friends, you also need to consider with respect to the benefit. Just now I said for the doctor, that consider the doctor also from a value chain perspective. It is not only the prescription that needs to be focused upon, but the entire practice of the doctor should be looked upon. That is what I mean by the value chain perspective. One formula which I gave you, an abbreviation which I can give you, is basically adopting the DIVA model, which is differentiation, innovation, and value addition as far as the strategy is concerned. And I've already communicated it on the social media. I come to the closing aspects of this discussion, that the VBS model, which I've already disclosed in the social media, is basically about value identification, value creation. Now we need to identify the value. So what do I mean by this? Is identify that element in the value chain that is most valued by the doctor, and simply not a brand to brand comparison. Our approach needs to identify and understand the weightage or the emphasis or the preference given by the doctor in a particular therapy or a product segment. In other words, what is being valued by the doctor is what I mean by value identification. And once you identify that, you need to create a value, you need to sustain that value, you need to enrich that value, you are committed towards that value, and that's not the end of it. You need also to discover newer values in order to continue giving or maintaining the advantage of value. So friends, just to summarize the strategic approach, what could be the areas? This is a ready-made solution I am giving to the listeners of this talk. What could be the areas that value can be created? It can be the technical aspects, it can be the updation of the knowledge front, it can be the formulation of the brand, it can be the product mix decisions for an organization, it could be the patient centricity, it could be the service to the patients, it could be the networking amongst peer doctors, it could be the service to the civil society, it could be dosage form decisions, it could be new knowledge, it could be engaging the doctor in some research activity. So this is what I feel. I mean, of course, in brief, that what could be the way forward as far as at least having a competitive advantage in the with respect to the Indian pharmaceutical market.
Very quickly, I think we can start off with the question and answer session. Uh, Anyone has got any question, I think please do share it to Dr. Sunil Deshpande.
Yeah, I would like to ask one question here.
Surely.
My name is Anantit Kulkarni from Pune. I would like to ask this question. Today, I will give an example like a simple drug called IV paracetamol. We have hundreds of manufacturers, hundreds of brands available. Now, as of now, there is no scope of any updation in technical aspect or technology or any scientific value upgradation. So in this situation, how do one market this product in a profitable way? Now, second question to this is that now there are many products which have become a hospital-based business, and the decision making is slowly shifting from doctors to the purchase head of the hospital. Now, for them, this value-based decision, how do we convince them? Because to the doctor, it may make sense, but for the purchase head, this value proposition may sound very different. So, how do we handle this challenge? Thank you.
Yeah, the first part, what you said about IV paracetamol is, I don't agree with respect to that's the end of the road for the technical aspects is concerned, because we need to, as I said, we need to go to the deep roots. We need to have a value chain perspective, and we need to find out at least one aspect. It could not be only technical or technological is one aspect of the entire discussion. There could be various other aspects which I already mentioned as far as the strategic approaches are concerned. We need to find out that what is it that in IV paracetamol which makes value to the doctor. That is what we need to identify. Number two, now the value-based strategic approach, no doubt, with respect to your second point, is for not all kinds of brands. Okay, it cannot be for brands which are selling for the sake of price, maybe, or organizations who are interested to sell brands only with respect to sending a quotation for their price or institutional business. Basically, that's a different business altogether. It doesn't consider the brand over there. As far as institutional business is concerned, of course, there are limitations also to this concept, no doubt about it. But as far as price is concerned, when you asked the second point, I think the value-based concept doesn't hold true with respect to an organization interested in selling brands only for quotation purpose.
No, I just want to clarify. What I mean by institution is like the corporate hospital, like Max, Fortis, Apollo, and all.
Yeah, that's including the hospitals, because in hospitals also basically you have the quotations which are based in terms of the brand, which gives you a lowest quote.
So if I am correct, that this value-based strategy may not work in this kind of setup.
Yeah, basically it would work in case you are interested. You means as an organization is interested to create brands. Now, I should have said this in the beginning actually, that creating brands, of course, is something which takes some time. That's one of the I would say, not limitation, but something which we need to consider. But the advantage is that once you create a brand, of course, you know it, it is something which is for a very long term. The advantages accrue to the organization for a long term. So value-based strategic approach are basically for those organizations who are interested to create or build brands, and building brands basically from a long-term perspective.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have one more question from Mr. Rohan Kapoor, I believe, and he asks that in this current scenario, how to go ahead with the non-essential segment like dermatology marketing?
Sorry, I did not get the question
The
properly.
question is, in this current scenario, how to go ahead with the non-essential segment like dermatology marketing? So I think primarily he's trying to understand how do we market the dermatology segment, since it is not an essential segment at this point of time.
I really don't understand what is the meaning of non-essential segment, because dermatology is also a very important therapeutic segment.
Rohan, if you are there, I think you can straight away talk to Sunil, Dr. Sunil Deshpande. Please unmute yourself and ask him.
Good evening, sir. Rohan this side.
Yeah, good evening, Rohan.
By the question, I meant that in this coronavirus time, people don't feel a necessity to get themselves treated for a disease, skin disease. So in this time, how we can market the brands, or how to go ahead with this? Because if this pandemic comes to an end, it will be like 5 to 6 months to get the dermatology practice back on track. So how do we go ahead during this period of time? That's what I wanted to ask.
Yeah, actually, Rohan, your question is not only pertaining to dermatology, but your question is pertaining to all other therapeutic segments equally as well. I mean, we are actually globally, we are facing the global pandemic, and it equally holds true for other therapeutic segments also. And I think today or yesterday itself, there was a post which I saw. I think it was posted by Mr. Anup Sons in this group, and also I saw it on the social media about the IQVA giving the results of the digital, interactions with the doctors. And I think what I remember is majority of the doctors are today interacted through the WhatsApp media. Now, of course, during such extraordinary situations, we need to strategize first with respect to how do we really go about trying to avoid any losses to our business. And also, of course, we don't really have very ambitious objectives as of now. But as a strategy, one must to uh, try to concentrate upon those prescribers which actually you feel are very, very necessary to be met during this absence. Now there are various categories of customers. There are various categories of doctors that what we have in our MCLs, and of course there are doctors, those who require the physical visit of the medical representative as a stimulus, as a stimulant. And we need to, as I said, we need to strategize to identify that which doctors require some kind of a communication or an interaction from our side during this process. Now, it would be a very, I would say, stupendous exercise that all doctors to be communicated on a daily basis. That also maybe some doctors at a higher frequency. And you can imagine what would be the fate of the doctor receiving this from all other organizations as well. And the doctor would really not appreciate that he is receiving or she is receiving all similar messages from similar companies, and some of the doctors have already started commenting upon that. So we need to find out strategically that which are the doctors, what would be the right time to approach them, what would be the right media or what would be the right tool to approach them, what products we need to communicate to these doctors during such times. Is there some value addition that what we can do, which can have or which can be fitted into this digital media as of now? So we need to think on all these aspects and then try to come to certain decisions in order to, our objectives first needs to be safeguard rather than trying to have ambitious objectives during such extraordinary circumstances, and then try to have a strategic approach towards safeguarding and then building upon slowly till the end of this pandemic what we see.
Okay.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir.
We have a couple of questions to go. I think we'll very quickly take some questions. Mr. Abhinav is asking, can you please elaborate on the first point you raised about pregabalin being prescribed, which extremely costly?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, this is the name of the brand is Lyrica, and it is marketed by Pfizer.
Yes, sir.
And what I found out is it is costing around somewhere around 850 rupees roundabout, as compared to the similar composition of other organizations like Torrent and one or two Indian organizations, which is around 150 rupees roundabout. So there was a difference with respect to around 7 to 8 times for this brand as compared to that of the competitive brands. And what I could gather from the doctor is basically the perception what the doctor had, or in other words, if I use the word, the value which this brand had created in the doctor's mind, and that value was pertaining to the formulation of the brand, Lyrica. And that is what I could actually understand from the doctor, that the doctor perceives Lyrica to be a different pregabalin as compared to the other pregabalin brands.
Right, sir.
Okay, we have a question from Mr. Shankar. He is asking, how do we reduce the gap between value we offer through our brand and the actual value perceived by the doctor?
That's a good question, actually. And what I would say is adhering to your communication and conquering with your communication on that particular brand is very important in order to minimize this gap between what value you are communicating and what is being perceived. So trying to minimize the gap between those aspects which you are communicating, which are creating that value. I'll just substantiate on this point. For example, if you are claiming that I am actually, as I said, for example, I gave you the example of FFS technology, which came in for the first time in the country in the mid 1990s. Now, one of the essential parts or benefits of this technology, as I said, was there was not a single human touch on the entire any of the ophthalmic brands. Now, what is the outcome of that? The outcome is that in ophthalmics, impurities are very, very important, and they have a lot of threatening possibilities. And therefore, if I say that maybe making 100% claim is difficult, but if I make a claim that you won't find any kind of impurities or maybe specify any impurities by virtue of this FFS technology, and in reality, it doesn't turn out that way, then obviously you are creating a gap between what you are communicating and what is being perceived by the doctor. So try to minimize, try to make claims, try to have a communication which concurs with respect to what aspects you are trying to communicate that make value, and try to fulfill that in entirety. And that is a very important aspect in order to have this continuation in the value. Otherwise, very interestingly, the doctor might not really perceive that value. You are trying to communicate, but the perception is something different.
And we have
Thank you, sir.
from Mr. Vijay. The question is, can you please elaborate more about the process to devise functional benefit of for the brand from specialty segment?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, basically the functional benefit is something which is very basic to a doctor. Like, what is the meaning of functional benefit? Say you take an orthopedic surgeon and the doctor wants to prescribe a NaCid. Suppose he wants to prescribe aceclofenac, and he wants to prescribe maybe a combination of aceclofenac with paracetamol, and he prescribes a combination of aceclofenac with paracetamol, and that's the end of it. But for example, the brand, suppose, which comes to me, for example, is say Vovran SR. It's not aceclofenac, but as an example, I can quote over here. Now, if you see the claims which are made by Vovran SR, basically there is one claim which says that there is no dose dumping. Now, that is something which is a functional benefit. Now, you have so many other SR brands in the marketplace, but can they claim that yes, there is no dose dumping? And most importantly, you have to make that claim, or you have to make that claim about that value which has got importance in that clinical practice of that doctor. So for a dermatologist, I gave you example of the particle size. Now for an ophthalmologist, I gave you example of the impurity. For a diabetologist, for example, who is prescribing insulin, there is a component which is called as methionine world over, and Eli Lilly became one of the most favored insulin brands some time back, because they harp upon this concept or this communication that our brands are totally methionine free, because 1 ppm of methionine is also life threatening. So there is, what you need to do is, as per the specialty, that's what I said, you need to identify those aspects which make value. Okay, and having identified, you have to spell out that why does it make value, and actually it should make value for that particular specialty.
Doctor, we are left out with only 3 minutes. I think a very quick one question, last question, I believe. The question is, why doctor consider MNC brands add more value than the Indian brands? I think very interesting question.
To be very honest with you, and my honest submission is, I wouldn't agree with this statement. So there is nothing that MNC brands are most preferred, or superior, or I mean, those days are over, when quality was considered to be one of the differentiating factor, and MNC brands or MNC companies utilize that to a very large extent, stating about the superior quality of their brands. But those days are long over, and you have various Indian companies with, I would say, respectable quality, better quality than even MNC brands, at par quality with MNC brands. So I think that's not something which I would agree.
So thank you very much, doctor. I think it's a long session, and very interesting, very valuable, very value addition for many people, I believe. I think you spoke on many aspects, whether it is a technical aspect, functional, psychological, emotional, a lot of aspects you talked about with regards to value, as how value will add a value for brand or a customer for that matter. And also you laid down a lot of strategies, just which comes to my mind is operation of knowledge, formulation, and patient centricity, service to the social, and lot many strategies that you laid down. I have recorded. With your permission, I would like to share this recording to the group members and others, those who joined for this session too. And thank you very much.
I would only make my closing statement, Ravi.
Yeah.
I would only make my closing statement that it is high time we understand the value of creating value in pharmaceutical marketing, so that we provide value to our marketing efforts. And I would only say that I am contactable on social media, and we can be in touch. Anyone can connect with me anytime on any of the medias. I thank you, Mr. Ravi, as well as all the participants in this discussion for their time.
Thank you, Dr. Sunil. Thank you to all the
Thank you.
participants. I'll share the
Thank you, sir.
other session which is going to happen on Friday. Till then, take care. All the very best.
Thank you.